Good evening. We have a special report tonight, a deep dive into the day the internet broke. We're going to dissect the anatomy of a digital collapse that took down some of the world's biggest online services and uncover what the official reports tell us about the shocking fragility of our hyperconnected world. The day was November 18th, 2025. For millions of people around the globe, it started like any other day. But then, without any warning, huge chunks of the internet just stopped. Key services went offline, and this strange, unsettling digital silence began to spread. The list of casualties was, frankly, staggering. We're talking about giants. X, gone. Spotify, silent. OpenAI, Discord, Shopify, all dark. It wasn't just websites either. The very networks that connect our phones, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, they were hit too. This was a full-blown cascade failure. And the impact on people was immediate. Just look at the numbers for X. In the first few minutes, nearly 10,000 outage reports flooded in from all over the world. It was pure chaos, in real time. So you can imagine the scene. Engineers everywhere are scrambling, trying to figure out what on earth is going on. And there's one single critical question they're all asking. What's the common link here? What connects all these different companies? What was the one domino that could knock over all the others? And the answer, once they pieced it all together from the incident reports, was pretty unsettling. Every clue, every network trace, every error message, they all pointed to one single name: Cloudflare. A huge part of the internet, it turned out, was depending on this one company. Now, you might not have heard of Cloudflare, but you definitely use it every day. It's what we call a content delivery network, or CDN. The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's a bodyguard and a super fast delivery service for websites, all rolled into one. It protects them from attacks and helps them load almost instantly for you, no matter where you are. Okay, so here was the first big technical clue investigators found. People everywhere were seeing this error, HTTP 500. Now, this isn't your average error. It means internal server error. And that was a huge tell. It meant the problem wasn't with X's servers or Spotify servers. The problem was inside the gatekeeper itself. Now, to really grasp how bad this was, you need to know a little bit about how these massive networks are designed. You've got two main parts. On the left, there's the data plane. Think of this as the public highway system that all our data travels on to get to websites. And on the right, you have the control plane. That's like the air traffic control tower for Cloudflare's own engineers. It's the set of tools they use to manage and fix everything. And here's the absolute kicker from the postmortem analysis. During this outage, both of them went down at the exact same time. So not only was the public highway system completely shut down, but the engineers were locked out of their own control tower. They couldn't use their tools to fix the problem. The whole thing just imploded. But here's the thing. A failure this big doesn't just happen out of the blue. When investigators dug into the company's public history, they found that this wasn't some freak accident. It was actually part of a pretty worrying pattern. Just look at this timeline from the reports. In 2019, a single bad software rule took down services globally. Earlier in 2025, a simple typo during maintenance literally overloaded one of their data centers until it collapsed. And then, just a few months before the big one, another error took out their DNS services. The warning signs were there. The expert analysis report really sums it up with this quote. It says, "Failure is an inherent, persistent feature of operating a global hyperscale edge network." What they're saying is that when a system gets this big and this complex, things breaking isn't a possibility, it's a certainty. And that brings us to the core problem for a company like X. It's something the report calls the centralization dilemma. See, by tying itself so deeply to one single provider, X didn't just take on a risk, it multiplied it. I mean, look at this. The analysis shows X wasn't just using the basic service. They were using everything. The advanced traffic routing, private network connections. They even had physical cables running directly between their data centers and Cloudflare's. They hadn't just built on top of Cloudflare, they had fused their operations with it. This table from the analysis really makes it clear. You have two main types of threats. On the right, an external attack, like from hackers, which causes things to slow down and time out. But on the left, you have an internal vendor failure. That's a self-inflicted wound caused by a bug or a bad configuration. And its signature? Those widespread 500 errors. The November outage was squarely in that left-hand column. And this is where the danger really gets compounded. When Cloudflare went down, it wasn't just that X stopped working. It was that the security shield, the very thing that protects X from those external attacks, it disappeared too. It's like the castle walls crumbling at the very same moment the front gate locks itself shut. So, faced with this kind of vulnerability, the report shifts focus to the biggest question of all. How do we stop this from happening again? How do we build a more resilient internet? The report lays out a pretty clear 3-step playbook. First, use more than one CDN. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Second, separate your security from your delivery. Use different companies for different jobs. And third, and this is probably the most important, build a secret backdoor, a way to bypass your main provider entirely and test it all the time. Ultimately, it all comes down to a fundamental change in philosophy. The new goal isn't to hope your main provider never fails. The new goal is to assume your main provider will fail and to build a system that's strong enough to survive when it does. And so, we're left with one final, sobering question tonight. When we see how a single error inside a single company can bring global communication to a standstill, we have to ask ourselves, is our hyper-connected internet actually just a house of cards?